What's going on, wrestling fans? Welcome back to the channel. We've got a packed episode for you today with the latest and greatest news in the world of professional wrestling. Some of our big topics for today are going to include Julia's return to NXT, more drama with Charlotte Flair, The Rock's WrestleMania plans, and perhaps another return for Saraya to the WWE. As always, I'm your host, Mike Cefaletto with 716 Sports Entertainment. I am joined by Mr. Sean O'Neill and Mr. T. Reese. And if you could, pile drive that like and subscribe button and leave your feedback down in the comments below. And with that, let's get on with the video. So, guys, we had a big return in NXT last night with Julia coming back with blue hair, looking real good. And as it turns out, she may not have been injured after all, and it looked like it might have just been a visa issue. But they set up a fatal four-way for the NXT Women's World Championship at Stand and Deliver with Julia, Stephanie McCour, Jada Parker, and Jordan Grace. So, what do we think? What do we think is going on with that? What do we think is going to happen there? And are we happy that Julia is back?
So watching it live, I gotta say it adds a whole lot more intrigue having Julia show up again the way she did, especially with no like heads up or announcement that she was coming. Um, I mean, yes, Jordan Grace, fantastic. Jada Parker looking great. But I think having Julia, who they may have rushed a little bit too quickly to have her drop the title, especially if it's true that this was just a visa issue and not an injury issue. Definitely adds a lot more to this fatal four-way match that's going to be coming.
Absolutely. Uh, she it was a big mystery what was going on. We were getting all kind of mixed reports about it, that she was injured and nobody knows what's going on, what her injury is. Um, I mean, that's the internet trying to speculate and whatnot and get us all riled up. But she looked good. I mean, she moved. She looked like nothing was wrong with her. I mean, she seemed
No.
perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So it probably more like you said, it was the visa thing. Looks like they got that straightened out, and it's good to see her back.
Yeah. It seems like a real black eye on WWE though, in my opinion, that like you kind of just mess this whole thing up, right? Like you have them do that title unification match with her and Stephanie, and then 3 weeks later she's back, like all of a sudden like that, and then you had Stephanie just drop the North American title to, now what's going to be sort of a women's what is it, a women's six pack at challenge
Ladder
that's going
match.
to happen, yeah, at Stand and Deliver. So that whole thing just kind of seemed messed up. And maybe like going forward, guys, you should probably just take your time with this a little bit more instead of just like rushing the title off of her. I mean, that's my opinion, but it seemed like now you're like, just what are you gonna just put it right back on her? You know?
Mm-hmm.
My issue is that you had Vakir drop the other title, the North American Women's one, and she would have had the opportunity to carry that at the same time Julia was carrying the other title.
Exactly.
So basically, you completely ruined two separate storylines because you rushed into potentially thinking that Julia wasn't going to be able to be back, only to have her back in less than a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this. Well, I mean, depends on when this visa thing came about. I mean, did they know about it prior, or was it something that was just dropped in their lap? So, I mean, I can't put too much on WWE. I'm pretty sure they had something lined up for her, but I think the visa thing kind of squashed all that. It's a shame that it happened right before, WrestleMania weekend. Kind of disrupted the storyline a little bit, but I mean, they got 2 weeks to try and straighten it all out. Is this the first time we're ever seeing like a six-person championship match? We've never seen one before.
Um,
WWE.
no, they've done it for men's like ladder matches and stuff.
Yeah,
But I
straight
don't
up.
know if they've ever done it for the women.
Yeah, I mean, but a straight up match. I don't think they've ever done something like this.
This with this belt for Julia and them is just a four-way. The North American Championship one, that's a ladder match for the title.
Mm. So
Yeah, I can't think like off the top of my head, like when they did something recently, but they did do. There was a match with when Karrion Kross was still when he was the NXT champion, and they had him in a six-way match with like Adam Cole and Keith Lee and like a bunch of other guys, and they ended up that was when they were trying to make Kross look like an absolute monster, and they had him beat everybody in that match. was a
It was
I remember that.
yeah, it was a terrible match, but it was like a couple years ago. Everybody was pissed because like Cross like squashed everybody, like Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole and like all of these other guys who were like, up and coming at the time. So I know they did something like that before, but it sucked. So
there was 6 people in that one.
I
I think so.
think so. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and watch it.
A 4-man match.
That was a while ago. I'd have to go
Yeah,
back and watch that. Um, yeah. Yeah, it was something else though. And then, on with the news here, more drama with Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. It turned out that backstage, everyone thought that that segment was just an absolute train wreck. And there's news coming out about how Ric Flair was interviewed on a podcast, and he said that, Tiffany Stratton's behavior was kind of unacceptable, and she went into business for herself and basically kind of defended his daughter, as you would expect Ric Flair to do. But it really seemed like Charlotte was the one who went off script based on what everyone's reporting. And when Charlotte made the comment about Kaiser being in her DMs and Tiffany sort of rolling out of the stage to avoid confrontation, in addition with Wade Barrett kind of like inserting himself in between them because you sort of thought that they were going to come to fisticuffs there. But just an absolute train wreck of a segment, as we kind of covered in our full review video. But it just seems like more stuff is coming out with this one. Terrence, what did you feel about this one?
Well, I think I said the last time when we spoke about this that I thought this was going to be a train wreck of a match, and I think WWE's worried about that right now, that it's going to turn into a train wreck. So I'm just wondering, are they going to maybe institute a third person just kind of even this out a little bit, where they're not going to be just them two in the ring? I can see that. Maybe they insert Bayley. Maybe just come out of nowhere and say Bayley's going to be involved in this match, but the only way the WWE is going to be able to clean this up, they may have to put a third person in there.
I think the bigger story is that by now you'd think Charlotte would be more professional than that. Um, and I mean, yeah, ego is a thing, but she's been around long enough that to be the one that went into business more or less for themselves first and started throwing the personal insults and getting off track like that, I think that says a lot about her as a person. I understand Tiffany coming back in and rolling with it, trying to defend herself. Not saying that that's the right thing to do, but she also did the smart thing and removed herself from the situation. So, I mean, if anybody's to blame here, honestly, they both are a little bit, but Charlotte instigating it is the main cause there. And I get it. She's had a lot going on in her personal life, but just like any job, you're supposed to keep that personal. So I think that you might be right. They might have to salvage it by putting somebody in there just to keep people from like coming to actual real blows. Because I could almost see this turning into a shoot fight at that point.
I mean, do you think that they're playing everybody though? Because the WWE has been known to do that lately, just kind of completely play the internet community where they're just like, we're gonna kind of fake report backstage stuff because this is all coming out of the WWE locker room, right? Like all of these reports are coming out that, oh, the locker room is upset and, management is upset, blah, 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 blah. But like, there's not been anything from the two of them, coming out on Twitter. There's not been anything other than, the usual cast of criminals, journalists, your Dave Meltzers and your PW Insiders and your Sean Ross Sapps of the world, who are kind of saying that this is going on. But I mean, WWE has been known to swerve the journalists before, and I mean, it could just be a shoot.
I don't know if it's a shoot. Don't forget, this is coming right off of the John Cena and Cody personal jabs at each other. So I thought that when it first started out, that's where the direction they were going to go with this match, was going to kind of stick, personal jabs at each other and just let them play off each other. But when you see Charlotte's face and the reaction from the crowd, you can tell that you can see it getting to her. She's not.
For sure.
And the thing is with her, she's always been like this.
Yeah.
And she has no problem with squashing people. Mm-hmm. And she's done this before, so it's not a secret. I think the locker room might have got behind Tiffany and told her to stick up for herself. That's the only way she's going to be able to defend against Charlotte. And I think that the looking at Charlotte's face, and I think I said on the last time we spoke about this, that you can see in her face she was rattled when the crowd was booing her. She didn't know how to react to it. And the weird thing to me is, like you said, Sean, she's seasoned. You would know that she should know how to play use the crowd for that. She had no idea what to do, so she's so totally self unaware of how popular she is.
Yeah.
So WWE at this point might be steering this in the direction they want to, because lately it does seem like they are attempting to court controversy on certain things. I mean, El Grande having Tony Hinchcliffe on the other day. So maybe they are trying to push this into any news is good news kind of area, and that way they can sort of control the narrative. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think it sort of helped the match by having it get a little bit more personal, but I still don't think it was the right thing for the two of them to really do.
Yeah.
Well, they're wrong too. Honestly, to put this is why I don't think it's a swerve. Tiffany Stratton showed in her previous face-to-face conversation with Charlotte. Charlotte ate her up. She had no idea how to respond. So based off that interview to this, why would you put a young wrestler like Tiffany in a situation where she has to do something like this on her own accord? I don't see the WWE doing that with her. I think this has totally happened. I think it was all natural. I think Charlotte had no idea how to react to it. Tiffany, took the opportunity, to get her jabs in there and whatnot. And once again, Charlotte took it personal. I don't see them discussing her yelling, your boyfriend's in my DMs. That makes no sense because that stuff like that goes through the internet really quick.
Yeah, it does.
People will hack those phones. People will hack those phones to get their information, and they will get posted on the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the fact that this wasn't scripted was how you could tell that it was more real too. Because like that scripted backstage interview between them, Tiffany was so like out of it and wouldn't like she had like no personality there. That definitely wasn't it during that segment.
Oh yeah, I mean Tiffany definitely held her own better this time than she did last time, and it was almost like she felt the need to defend herself like a little bit more real, because like she kept trying to go back to the script it seemed, and Charlotte might have went off script to your point, and Tiffany needed to improvise, but yeah, I don't know. They're definitely doing a good job though building intrigue for this match. At least they're trying to, like I mean doing, making, chicken salad out of chicken, you know what. But to your point, Reese, we just also found out today that John Cena is officially advertised for the April 18th SmackDown at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, the day before the first night of WrestleMania. So this is good. Like, I'm glad we're going to get one more, hopefully one more face-to-face or one more physical altercation between him and Cody ahead of their, WrestleMania main event, because it would have been like, I don't know, it would have been a bit ridiculous, I think, if like the challenger and the guy who's, by the betting favorite right now to win your title is just not going to show up for the entire month of April ahead of WrestleMania. So, like, it's good that they're getting him on that show, I think.
Honestly, the one thing I hope out of it is that it's not just Cena. I'm hoping that there's a surprise appearance by Dwayne.
Mhm.
We still need to get an explanation as to why Cena actually aligned with him and what the root cause of that was. Plus, I would like to see them both Cody and Dwayne kind of beat down, or not Cody, John and Dwayne beat down Cody a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, they got to have another altercation before WrestleMania. We can't, like we said before, I mean, you can't ride out these next couple of weeks with them just talking to each other again. And then you can't not have them on TV to avoid that. So there's going to be something. I'm actually shocked that they don't do like some tag match or something.
Yeah.
One of these shows just to get them in the ring. I mean, Cena, he needs it. I mean, he hasn't wrestled all that often. So you can probably definitely use a warm up match just before WrestleMania. But yeah, they got to something else got to happen before WrestleMania. I think The Rock does need to show up. I don't know if we're ever going to get an explanation from Rock because it's almost like you're just keeping him in the background. Like he's just a guy in the background. They put this together, and we're just kind of sitting there watching it.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's part of a bigger story that they're trying to tell with The Rock, Cody needs to get through Cena first to reveal that story. You know what I mean?
So, but the question is why?
Who knows with Dwayne? I mean, the guy has an ego the size of Las Vegas.
True.
Well, and it's been reported that they're keeping the Rock's Mania plans like a complete secret. Like no
Mm-hmm.
one other than like, Triple H and the people in charge at TKO have any idea what's going on with the plans for Dwayne for WrestleMania. So I would assume he's going to be there in some respect, but based on them how everyone's keeping it all hush hush. But it would be nice like for him to make an appearance on TV ahead of WrestleMania instead of just like you know, leaving fans being like, well, why did he do that? Unless it's a storyline after the fact, right? Like it could very well be if Cena wins the title, Cena comes out on Monday Night Raw and he comes out with Dwayne and hands the title to Dwayne or
Yep,
something
I was
like
gonna say
that.
that.
Because Dwayne was like he remember when he had that segment with Cody right after WrestleMania last year where they like exchanged the belts for a second and that really like goofy opening segment that they had. Cena could very well hand the title to Dwayne at that point on that Raw after Mania, and that would explain everything. That's like I have no idea if that's going to happen. I'm just like a fantasy booking thing, but like I wouldn't be surprised to hear that.
I
Similar to
need you to rephrase that, Mike. Rock's writers are keeping it a wrap. We know where Rock goes, his writers have to be involved, no matter where he goes.
That's
the
true.
one
So
writer.
That's
writers are
true.
keeping it under wraps.
He is that one writer. But I mean, so Mike, you're talking like similar to the situation when the $1 Million Man bought the title off of Andre, correct?
I mean, somewhat. I'm just replaying a story that they put in place like a year ago where, The Rock gave Cody that thing that we never found out about, and they kind of exchanged titles in that really goofy, stupid segment that they had after
Yeah.
WrestleMania 40. So I don't know. I mean, hopefully there's a payoff to that, but I mean, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Speaking of SmackDown, it looks like there's going to be Randy Orton's going to come out and address the fact, obviously, that Kevin Owens was unable to have their match, obviously due to his injury. But it sounds like he may be issuing an open challenge. And if Randy Orton issues an open challenge, who do we feel answers that?
Aleister Black.
So yeah, I don't know.
He's going to show up.
Um,
Have to make one of those guys show up this week in order to make a match for him.
Yeah.
That's that's the only wrestlers that are available for him right now.
the chatter I'm hearing is that it might be Aldis getting the opportunity to step back in the ring. I like that idea. They've set up the story for that with the several instances of Randy going out of his way to RKO Aldis. And I mean, at what point does the guy defend his manhood instead of just constantly taking these moves from Orton and having to sit there and take them? Some point he's got to have a reaction to it. I'd be fine with it being him. Um, I'd also be fine with it being the surprise reappearance of one of these new signees, be it Miro, be it Aleister Black. Just because, like you said, there is an opportunity to get this match without having to do an actual storyline. The other thing, I mean, we could always have like a returning Sami Zayn. We could have, which I wouldn't be a big fan of, but or I don't know who else. Is there anybody else major who's been out injured for a little while?
Well, that's my point. There's not very many right now, so
Yeah.
that are available for him. That's why I said you may have to do a debut for someone early, just to get a match for Randy. And one thing that's big intriguing for that match isn't to wrestle one of these guys, or just the free agents that have been signed.
Yeah. I think it's super underwhelming if he wrestles Nick Aldis, and I don't think anybody's going to give a crap. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
I
It's the only thing that I think people like. Yes, people who have an understanding of wrestling know that Nick Aldis was a wrestler, obviously before he was the general manager of SmackDown. But your average fan who watches WWE is just going to be like, why is Randy Orton wrestling the general manager, and why is Randy Orton going to squash him in 30 seconds?
I just thought of something. Do you know who it could be? Say his name.
Joe Hendry.
Yes. Think about the pop at WrestleMania if Joe Hendry's music hit.
That would be pretty cool.
If it's
That
an open challenge,
it would be.
they
I
can
don't
print
think
money.
I don't think they're just going to cram Joe Henry into a WrestleMania match for this.
Print
So
money. Print money.
they might though. Hey, listen, I'm not going to say never.
I mean, his Royal Rumble pop was huge. He got a huge pop with the Royal Rumble. So, I mean, you know what? It'd be an easy thing, and it doesn't hurt him to lose at all. Like, he's not going to beat Randy Orton, but like, it's a big, and he is still the TNA champion, right?
He is.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah,
So,
walked out with that title on WrestleMania stage. It's a big promotion for TNA too. Like huge for that. It's huge promo for their teamwork and their crossover. I think it's a prime opportunity for them to do something incredible.
that would
yeah,
be pretty cool.
And you heard it here first.
yeah,
Say his name, and he appears.
yeah. Like, that
Uh,
could be it.
um,
I would love it.
yeah. On to the WWE and the women's division here. We got a couple of news pieces here. It looks like Kelly Kelly was signed to a Legends deal with the WWE. And with that, it seems like we're getting closer and closer this year to having an Evolution 2 pay-per-view, considering our news video last week when we talked about Nikki Bella being re-signed as well. So it sounds like they're starting to pile up some of those legends on board, and this Evolution 2 pay-per-view seems like it's going to be very likely for this summer.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I mean there's people there is a fan base that wants to see it again. That's fine. I mean, if they want to do it, um, I'm pretty sure if this is going to be the case, there are going to be more former divas being signed to show up into this pay per view. It's what I mean. Hey, fine, do it again.
Love your
It's
background.
yeah.
Say his name, and he
Say his
appears.
name. Yeah, I'm fine. It's whatever. I mean, you're going to probably see more names, former divas coming in. So it's what it is.
So my problem with the original Evolution pay-per-view was that they focused too much on the Legends aspect of it. I think that they have plenty of women who can go right now. And tying sort of back to that Joe Hendry comment I made, with their cross promotional work they're doing, they have enough women that they could bring in too to fill out this a pay per view like that. Or I'm sorry, a PLE like that. You bring in like Rosemary, you bring in any of those TNA women, and fantastic. Much better, I think, than having a glut of legends across this. Like, I mean, do any of us really want to see Nikki Bella wrestle again? I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah,
it,
Well, that's
she's a
what
high
I'm saying before.
champion,
Like,
but
why are we bringing them back? I mean, the nostalgia thing for me, just for me, I'm over with.
right.
yeah.
Especially if you're gonna have her like showcase, like, but you know she's gonna want to be in a big match on this event. She's not a good wrestler. Like, there's at least Kelly Kelly was a little bit better in the ring. Not a whole lot, but at least a little bit better. However, when I could see them, this could be where I see them bringing AJ Lee back.
Oh yeah. If not now, but then for the Royal Rumble for sure.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so I guess just more to come with that. And speaking of the women's division, it sounds like Soraya is teasing a return to WWE as well after her departure from AEW a few months back. Do we care about that?
I mean, it'll be nice that she'll get to officially retire from WWE where she started. Um, I mean, she's been dropping little hints here and there, like playing her WWE theme music and stuff, made like churning up chatter about it. But I don't know. I mean, she's been so injury prone lately. Even in AEW, she really didn't do a whole lot. So outside of maybe a match or two, I don't really care.
Well, my only thing is I don't think WE needs. I mean, if they're gonna bring her back, she'll probably be another one signed for the Evolution pay per view, which
Yep.
fine. Um, I don't see why bring her back into some sort of a major role in WWE. I mean, you got so much talent right now in NXT that you could be using right now. It doesn't make any sense for them to bring her back unless they do what they did before with her when they brought her back, was turn her into like the head of some sort of a faction of women and let her be the face and let her be the microphone for all of them.
Yeah. because that's one thing she still was good at was her promo work. I mean, she
Hmm.
definitely knew how to handle a mic.
Yeah.
Yes, she did.
Yeah. You could have her be a manager. I mean, some of these women
With the comes
absolutely
to mind.
they need help, especially I mean, you've got so many women on that roster who are not native English speakers who could absolutely use the help, you know?
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah, I could see it.
give her a
Uh,
new faction to run.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of legends returning to the WWE, so the Hall of Fame ceremony is starting to fill out quite a bit. As we know, SmackDown on the 18th is going to take place a bit earlier. It looks like it's going to start at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and then the Hall of Fame is going to take place after the fact, starting at 10 p.m. Um, Eastern Time. And as we know, Triple H is going to be the headliner as well as Lex Luger. But then we had a few others that were added recently, as we talked about the natural disasters, and then the first time ever of the Steve Austin Bret Hart match, but also Kamala, Dory Funk Sr., and Ivan Koloff being added as well. Sounds like we might still need to add a women's match or a women's wrestler, excuse me, and perhaps a legend as well. I know that they do that sometimes, but how are you guys feeling about how this is filling out?
Like we were talking about earlier, this definitely is one of the more strangely put together Hall of Fame ceremonies. Um, it doesn't really have the name value that a lot of previous ones did. I mean, yeah, you have Triple H and then you have Luger, but we've talked about it before. Who really cared about the natural disasters? I mean, outside of being a sideshow attraction in the early days of WWE back then, there was, and even when they were on their own, like I don't remember anything that was like standout worthy to me. Same with like Kamala and same with um Ivan Koloff. Like they were there to be your stereotypical, and I don't mean that like in the casually racist way that Kamala was a stereotypical villain. Or even Koloff was just the stereotypical Russian bad
Yeah.
guy to face off against your Sergeant Slaughters and your Hogan, your eat your prayers and say your vitamins, Hulk Hogan. Um, but I don't know, it just doesn't really have the appeal of a normal Hall of Fame. Like I normally would watch it every year.
Yeah.
Just to hear the stories. And honestly, outside of watching for the segment with the where they're inducting the first ever match, because it's still one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time, with the Bret Hart Stone Cold match. Um, and the two co-main event parts of it, I don't have any interest in the rest of it.
Yeah.
No, I remember Earthquake had a feud with somebody. I want to say, was it Bam Bam Bigelow?
Sounds right.
It was either Bam Bam Bigelow or somebody else, but it was like it wasn't like nothing prominent. So I mean, that was the only rise of fame he had. Like I said, I'm confused with Natural Disasters, and now you're adding in more characters who weren't really. They were just sideshows. It's just a
Yeah,
weird this theme, almost like they want Triple H to be the focal point in this thing.
Well, I mean, no doubt. Didn't Earthquake have a feud with Yokozuna? Like was it like 93 or whatever? They did like a sumo versus sumo
Yeah,
match.
I believe so. I believe so.
Yeah,
I believe so.
was was Earthquake also the guy who was packaged as the African Prince at one point?
that sounds right.
Yeah, he was. He sure was.
Like I said, those early days of WWE were something else.
The early 90s. What a time to be alive.
Yeah, there was no hold. There was no censorship. It was just,
Yeah.
just Vince
Just
doing his weird stuff again. I want to
casual
say,
racism
oh,
everywhere.
I want to say that it was Brutus Beefcake. I think he had a beef with that. He had a feud with
The Beef Man.
the Beef Man. That's who I think he had a feud with. But like I said, there's nobody in this Hall of Fame. I don't know who's going to hold everyone's attention until Triple H comes out. I mean, there's
Yeah,
Well,
nothing
they'll
here. I mean,
probably do
maybe
him
the
first,
matches
though.
one, huh?
no,
No, they usually did. They did it. Cayman came out first last year, and Ray
really?
and Ray came out first the year before. Yeah, the headliner usually comes out first. That's
But they're
on
not going to the Triple.
Undertaker came out first. The last 3 years, the headliner came out first every single time.
I always watch it after the fact, so they usually have it set up the other way.
Yeah, because I always seen like the headliner being the last person whenever I watch it. I watch it live for part of it, and then I'll watch the rest the next day because it's so long.
No,
Um,
I'm almost positive Heyman came out first last year because like
yeah.
I remember shutting it off afterwards because I was like I don't care about the rest of this.
Well, that's just what this one is. It's like once Triple H comes out, if he comes out first, the show's over. There's nothing else to make people sit there. The wrestlers are gonna have to sit there and watch, but
Yeah,
there's no way I'm paying to watch the natural disasters do a speech.
yeah. I mean, it might be interesting to see who ends up inducting Luger if it's DDP or if they can find a way to get Sting there, but I don't know. We'll see.
I don't
I
know. I hope they're not petty and they allow Sting to induct one of his best friends.
yeah.
Hmm.
Speaking of AEW, we do have some AEW news. It sounds like fans are, the internet wrestling community strikes again, and they are quite annoyed with the way the AEW main event went at Dynasty over the weekend. And it sounds like there's a lot of fan backlash with Tony Khan. I've even seen some things on X where he was getting like death threats because of the way the main event was booked. And I mean, guys, don't do that. That's like ridiculous. Like, grow up. It's just wrestling. It's not real. It's just something, we love it and we love to talk about it and poke fun at it, but like sending people death threats over wrestling is not acceptable ever. But with that said, yeah, the main event did suck, and I'm super disappointed with the way it went down. And Moxley should not be the champion anymore. Swerve should have won. But I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think about all of the backlash, of the main event?
I mean, watching that main event, I would have been happy with a death threat on my life. That was just, however, back to your point, there's no place for that kind of thing. It's a story for God's sakes. Like, yeah, it's terrible, it sucked, but you don't threaten the owner of the company over something like that. Like, get a life.
Hmm.
Um, I just I know AEW Dynamite is tonight, so whatever half-ass explanation they have, I mean, I'll watch it. I'll throw together a recap for everyone out there. I just at this point, I mean, AEW deserves all the heat they're getting for it because I said it in both in our recap and things we've talked about in the past about the previous main events. It literally has treated the AEW fan base and wrestling fans as a whole like they're morons. Like it's like you're supposed to suspend your disbelief for when you're watching wrestling. This asks for you to take it a step beyond it. It makes so little sense.
Yeah, I think first of all, let me say I'm stunned that there's this many AEW fans that are feeling like this.
Yeah.
Just it's been like this for the last 3 years of
Oh
their
yeah.
book. And that's part of the reason why that's why they're losing viewership because the bookings are so bad. And my thing is, it shows you exactly that they have no idea what they're doing with their talent there. The easiest thing for them is just to stay consistent with what they're doing. It's the easiest answer for them. They have no idea how to answer. And what they need to do is stop trying to compete with WWE and just be their own entity. Just do your own thing. And for some reason they're feeling like I mean, we keep hearing reports every once in a while from the Mets. Oh, they're Tony Khan doesn't want to go to battle with WWE and all this other stuff. Well, they threw the gauntlet down year one,
Yep.
and because they've been on that soapbox, it's hard for them to get off of it. I think at this point they need to just hunker down and just say enough's enough. Look at him. Look at the guy up there. He has no idea.
So
He has no idea what he's doing.
so I don't know if you guys feel the same way I do, but watching everything going on with Moxley over these last several months reminds me of when Hogan never lost to anybody towards the end of his yellow and red career into the NWO, where he just wouldn't put anybody over because he had absolute creative control over everything. I kind of get that feeling out of this whole Moxley situation. Like, is he just refusing to lose to people? Because it almost feels that way. And when you have the rich kid playing with all his daddy's money there, it all like, why would you tell him no at that point? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also if you're going to do something like that, you got to have the right person to do that. Moxley, he's not going to hold a crowd's attention long enough for you to be intrigued with him holding a belt for this long. It doesn't make any sense to me. I just don't think they have any answers. I just don't think they know what to do with all the wrestlers they've signed. They got so many wrestlers that most people don't even know who they are, and it's hard to tap into a wrestling fan base that WWE completely has a grip on. They're trying to do too much.
Let me get this straight. You're telling me that the guy who looks like your average plumber can't hold the attention of everybody for longer than 5 minutes because he's just not that good. I agree.
Listen, I'm not going to say he's not that good. What I'm saying is that you have someone who, as far as his skills and personality, isn't the type of person to hold the belt for long periods of time. You don't have the charisma of a Roman Reigns. You don't have the all-American thing of Hulk Hogan. I mean, you can go to John Cena. He doesn't have any of the charisma any of those guys have, and that's what's missing.
My only point to that is there's a reason why there's only one Shield member who's not with the WWE anymore. He doesn't have the badassness, the final boss qualities that Roman Reigns has. He doesn't have the insane charisma and ring skills that Seth Rollins has. Like I said, there's a reason why he's the only Shield member no longer with them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I'm going to cut the guy a little slack. I mean, some of the storylines that they were putting him in towards the end of his career were absolutely ridiculous. Like, you're gonna make fun of your basically your brother at the time who had cancer, and then you're gonna like make him come out in like a garbage mask, like because the fans are disgusting. Like that was idiotic. And I mean, yeah, that was Vince, and a lot of people left because of Vince, but. And at the time, right, when he went over to AEW, when he first went to AEW, he was like, he was the top of the world there. I mean, he had that big feud with Kenny Omega, and that was awesome. Where I remember when he hit the what the hell's his name? His finisher, the
Death Rider.
No, he hit the DDT. What was it called?
Yeah, it's the Death Rider.
No, that's what it was now, but it was something else.
Oh yeah.
Was it Dirty Deeds? Does that sound right?
It was Dirty Deeds when he was with WWE.
Yeah, they called it something, but he basically did a DDT on Kenny Omega when he like ripped up the ring apron and like exposed the pine on there, and that's how he ended up winning that crazy like death match that they had. That was nuts. So there was a time when people really liked him, but to your point now, yeah, this Death Rider story is just not interesting.
Well, the part of the problem too is that they're using, think about it, when they first started AEW up to now, it's nothing new. It's the same people at the top. There's been no changes anywhere. The only thing that's been changed is like kind of the smaller guys underneath the guys who came from WWE. That's where they're not taking advantage of the talent that they have. They have young talent there that they could be using to use the older guys to push these guys over.
Yeah. Use your pillars. Who are their pillars? Darby Allin, MJF, Jungle Boy, and who was the fourth one?
Hangman.
Hangman. Yeah. Like you have all these independent guys that are basically your homegrown talent. Instead, all your top guys are these former big name WWE people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, though, 2 of those 4 guys aren't even on TV. One of them's barely with the company anymore. The other one has been on TV in like 3 months. MJF is in like a nonsense storyline right now with the what's their faces? The Hurt Syndicate, and then who was the fourth one?
Darby's trying to kill himself.
Yeah, Darby's trying to kill himself, and I mean, I don't even know what Hangman's doing. He was trying to interfere in that main event match, but they obviously, they dropped the ball with that too. So
he's in the Owen Cup.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Dynamite is tonight, guys. There's some matches announced for tonight. There are more matches in the Owen Cup. Rosa versus Statlander, Samoa Joe and Hook versus the Death Riders, Swerve versus Pac. And then it sounds like the Bucks are going to come out as well and address the actions from the main event. So should be some stuff to see on Dynamite tonight. Hopefully they give a good explanation as to why the Bucks did what they did to close out that show.
Well, it's weird. It's funny. Hook, I forgot about Hook. Here's a guy that he could have been pushing already. I mean, his whole character is appealing to the crowd. Don't talk much. He's a great wrestler in the ring. He can pretty much do anything. He doesn't have the big guy physique to be in the ring, but still, here's someone you can actually use and push forward. You make them the face of your company. You push an Edge and Jericho and all that's enough. All right, you guys have talent. You're just not utilizing. And what's the point of get? And then they keep bringing international talent, and that's squashing their younger talent too on top of it. So you're just conflating everything. So no, you're not. He has no idea, and I think he has total control over the creative storyline. I think he's the end game and all that, and he has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah.
He really needs to get himself a dedicated writer's room for it.
Well, I thought there was some people who got fired, let go in WWE, are part of that, part of AEW. And I'm just wondering, is he even leaning into them? Is he doing the Vince thing where he just doesn't listen to anybody and just does it his own?
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know that they were doing that in the beginning, but like I don't really know. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing anymore with it. So just we'll have to wait and see. Dynamite should be interesting tonight, but yeah. Anyway, guys, that's our video. That's the news of the week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, hit that like and subscribe button and enable notifications. And look out for all of our videos coming out in the next week or so for WrestleMania. We're gonna have a ton of content for you guys to enjoy. So thank you very much and have a great evening.